You may not know this about me, but I'm actually a pretty sporty guy. Like, sports has been a big part of my life since I was around 9 years old. What I wanted to mention here is that in my athletic career, I possessed two incredible characteristics, being how I was quite physically gifted, but despite that, I was still an extremely hard worker. Like, I remember waking up early in the morning and training completely of my own volition. Now you must be thinking, well, if you're so great, how come nothing ever came of your sports career? You can't be that amazing if your efforts never amounted to anything. And to that, I'd say that to some extent you're right. I didn't make this video to brag. It never really was anything special. Throughout my career, I have always been missing one major factor, which is what I want to explore within this video. Okay, sticking with the theme of sports, I want to draw your attention to sports anime and manga. I've been a big fan of them for a while now, and have read and watched a fair few. But the one in particular I want to focus on is Real by Takahiko Inoue. You probably know Inoue from his monstrously popular works of Vagabond and Slam Dunk, but I feel that Real isn't talked about nearly as much, despite how incredible it is. To surmise, this piece revolves around three characters in three different tragic situations, each searching for their path in life. One of the protagonists, named Togawa Kiyoharu, possessed dreams of becoming a sprinter. However, after being diagnosed with bone cancer, he saw these aspirations slowly slip away. After his amputation, he found himself incredibly isolated, but was inspired to pursue a new dream of wheelchair basketball by a man with an identical disability. Togawa, despite losing his leg, never lost his athletic attitude, meaning he is fiercely competitive and consistently has grandiose expectations of both himself and those around him, much to the dismay of his team. Within the story, Togawa is mainly learning how to better adjust to working as a team to attain his goals and gaining a better understanding of people as a whole. The second protagonist is named Hisanobu Takahashi, and he is depicted as a typical prodigy, athletic, smart, and effortlessly popular. This is until a reckless decision leads him to a tragic, life-changing accident, leaving him paralyzed from the chest down. What makes Takahashi's story so compelling is how it shows him learning for the first time how to work hard for the things he wants and appreciate the abilities he has. Additionally, the excess of time the accident has given him allows him to contemplate the issues with how he perceives and treats people as he comes to terms with his own predicament. The last character I'm coming to is actually the first of the protagonists you are introduced to, his name being Tomomi Nomiya. Nomiya is a delinquent through and through, and this is characterized by his departing gift he leaves for his school when he decides to drop out. Where Takahashi represented the pinnacle of social, academic, and athletic standings, Nomiya represents the absolute bottom in all but one area. He clings to basketball since that's the thing he loves and the only thing he has. The reason I take an interest in Nomiya is that his story is mostly defined by his failures. When we meet him, he is suffering from an overwhelming guilt after a traffic accident he caused leaves a girl bound to a wheelchair while he was mostly unscathed. Throughout his story, we aren't treated to noticeable victories and triumphs like the other characters. The closest thing he really gets are his epiphanies on how he can improve his life and get closer to his goals. I feel this is a unique representation to progress that is rarely seen, in that progress is less about the bigger triumphs, but rather about the contemplation and smaller steps taken towards our goals. For most other sports anime or manga, failure or defeat is used sparingly as a means to drive the plot or to ground the protagonist to some degree. Like if we take the hugely popular sports series Haikyuu as an example, we follow Hinata and his team Karasuno, where almost every interaction is met with relative success, in that either the team wins or our protagonists are able to at least prove how talented they are. This is until the end of season 1, where the rug is pulled from under our feet and we are given a reality check, when the team suffers their first genuine defeat against Seijo. In the anime, this is used to motivate the players while letting the audience know that the protagonists aren't untouchable and the path ahead will be difficult. I don't really have an issue with this trope, but I feel it is unique how Real decides to use success sparingly in a manner where other stories would use failure. This gives a more realistic depiction of sports and life itself, in that you will inevitably suffer more failures than successes. It's like the quote from Stephen McCraney: "The master has failed more times than the beginner has even tried," meaning our success is based on our failure and how we respond to it. In terms of my athletic career, the furthest I ever got was competing nationally a couple of times, but by that point I'd already noticed how people who were less gifted or worked far less than me were slowly overtaking me, and I was being left behind. Even if I came first in a competition, I never felt my performance reflected the work I put in, so I was dissatisfied, always so anxious and dissatisfied. To conclude, I wanted to really emphasize my point. Although hard work and talent are incredibly vital assets to any pursuit, the fundamental characteristics which a person must possess resides within their attitude. And this idea is illustrated within the protagonists of Real, in how, despite their different circumstances, each of them persevere towards their respective goals. I never had confidence in my abilities, and I never had the resilience to persist when things didn't go as I intended. And that's the key thing, not just for sports, but for life in general. It's all a matter of mind and how you perceive a situation. I just wanted to say this video is a lot more subjective in that it's based on my experiences and interpretations, but I'd love to know some of your thoughts too, so please let me know. And thanks again for watching.